Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about animating geographical data. Now, this is a great technique, particularly when you have a lot of data. That data can be quite dense, but also you might be interested in how that data could change over time. Say you're trying to track the occurrence of crime across the city or some temperature across some wider range. And so let me show you how we can do that pretty easily using Plotly Express and the tools that are built into that library. So here we are importing Plotly Express, pandas, the date time library, as well as warnings, just to avoid a future warning that comes up due to the data structure. As well, we are going to read our data from this LA Open data source. And we know from the previous video or earlier videos that this data comes out as a JSON, and Pandas has a JSON reader for that. Next, we're going to make the date occur, the date occur, the date underscore OCC as a formal date time. When this reads, it reads as a string, and we want to actually ensure that this is the correct date time format. And so when we run these cells and look at it, we have our data frame, and there is a lot of data here. I'm just showing the first 5 rows using the head method, but we have all sorts of information around the date and time these events occurred, the area name, the district, the weapon used. So all sorts of information we can dive into, as well as the street level location of this. But I want to show you how we can now plot some of these data and gain some insight as to how crime or some other event is moving across some geographic location. To do that, we're going to use the density map box to render that data. And if you run this, this might be where you start. We have an aggregation of all the crime across LA. We can adjust the zoom by using the scroll wheel on your mouse and click and drag the map and look across the city. So we have Pasadena, Glendale, Burbank. And if we zoom in, we can get closer to that downtown area. And you see how the map automatically adjusts the resolution of these data points as we zoom in and out. So a really good feature already. We can really see the spread of this data, and we can see how it's primarily focused on the city center. Now, it might also be really interesting to see how this crime evolves over time or changes over time. Is it always focused here, or does it move around as a function of the day or other artifacts over the course of some time period? To do that, we can use the animation frame and animation group arguments within the map box function. So you can consider the animation frame as the thing that's moving over time. So in this case, our frame can be the date these events occurred. And we can also aggregate and look at these as a function of that date. Perhaps we don't want to specify the time. We just care about what happens, everything that occurred on a particular day of the year. And so if we run this, we now have this timeline at the bottom of the figure. And you can see we're starting off with January 1, 2020. And if you push the play, this will move across the entire time frame of our data set. If you want to adjust the time resolution, it might be best to then add a new column or a new feature to the data set that might aggregate based on month or some other frequency that might make more sense. Perhaps you want quarterly updates as it relates to this. And we can continue to zoom and just see how these events happen. It was clear that there was a lot that happened at the beginning of the year, but as we move through, you see that there's much less. The time frequency also adjusts, so there's some missing data from this set, but you do get some idea of the types of events that can happen, and more importantly, the power of this sort of data. And so I hope this was a helpful tutorial. In any case, I see you in the next video.